Hi everybody, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, I'm doing this later on in the afternoon because of some breaking stories that are coming, and I want to be able to cover it today out for you because it's pretty important. We have a passenger from the Norwegian Bliss who's gone missing in Alaska after heading out onto the tram and going for a hike. We also have a huge update on the child who went over, the 5-year-old, and the father, and all the investigation and everything. And we have a firm statement from the Sheriff's Department who is doing the investigation. And finally, we also have a story about MSC starting to warn their passengers, we might have to start charging more, or we might have to start missing ports, because as of July 1st, a new fee just came in Greece. It just started July 1st for Mykonos and Santorini. Today's video is brought to you by Private Internet Access. I'm going to tell you, one of the scariest situations if you are a person who travels is to get to your location, you're out of your own home country, you're in a foreign country altogether, you go to use your credit card and you found out it's been hacked. Your credit card information is gone, or your bank account information is frozen and you can't get into your bank account. That is a huge, scary situation. And I would say about 99% of the time, the reason you're getting hacked is you're not using a VPN. A VPN will hide your IP address. It'll make you look like you're in a completely different country than you're in. It makes it almost impossible for hackers and trackers, etc., that's on your computer to send out information and have it accurate. It makes it virtually impossible. Ever since I've started using a VPN, I haven't had any issues with any of my accounts at any time. Before that, I used to regularly have my credit cards or my bank accounts frozen when I'm traveling, and it was horrible. Now, why did I choose Private Internet Access as my VPN? Well, for one thing, they have a no-log policy, which means they're not storing my information. They're not keeping any of my personal information, which is what I want. I don't want anybody to have my information that I haven't authorized. Not only that, I can use unlimited devices under the same plan. I can do an iPad, I can do my phone, I can do my computer at home, I can do my computer at the office, I can do my laptop when I'm traveling, all under the same plan at no extra cost. That's one of the great reasons I've used Private Internet Access. Now, if you'd like to give them a try, why not follow my link down below and you can get up to 83% off your subscription plus 4 months free. You don't want to get caught and have any of your information hacked, and a VPN is probably the safest way to keep that information safe. Thanks again to Private Internet Access for sponsoring this video. So first off, a passenger who's described as being about 5'1" with dark hair went off the ship around 7:30 in the morning, the Norwegian Bliss, and she had told her friends that her plan was to take the tram up from Juneau in Alaska and then go for a hike and try and get to some certain locations on the hike. Unfortunately, when it was time for the ship to leave, she never returned to the ship. So the ship notified authorities, and after a few more hours, they launched a search and rescue, which included search dogs and drones, and like thermal drones, as well as a helicopter and people on the ground trying to search for her as well, trying to find out what might have happened. Unfortunately, the weather has also deteriorated there. It's been some bad weather, and some of these were not able to get up, like the drones can't fly in windy, rainy weather. So yeah, it's been hindering the search and rescue operation. So if you happen to be in Alaska and you happen to see the lady here on the picture, please notify authorities right away. As of right now, there is still, this happened on Tuesday, I believe, and Wednesday and Thursday, still no sign of her during the search. And search and rescue has resumed once again in Alaska. So let's hope this has a good ending, because it's a scary proposition, especially when you're traveling and hiking on your own. It's always good to let people know exactly where you're going, and hopefully you have a cell phone with you. She might have been hiking and the weather deteriorated and got lost and stepped off the path. So easy to do in unfamiliar territory. Next, let's talk about an update from the Sheriff's Department in Broward County that is launching the investigation from the Disney Dream where the 5-year-old went overboard. It was reported by eyewitnesses and statements came out and everybody was covering it that the child might have been put on the railing for the father to take a photo, and they have come out and firmly, I'm so glad to hear this, firmly stated that no, the father did not put the child on the railing or was not holding the child over the railing. This has been seen, I guess, on the cameras and other eyewitnesses now that, other people now have reported that the girl was climbing. However, the father was not the one doing it or posing it, etc. It wasn't him doing reckless endangerment of the child, which is so glad to hear that. So glad to hear that, because can you, the devastation to the family if anything would have happened and it turns out to be your fault because you were trying to get a photo. That I am so glad to hear that the sheriffs has firmly come out and said, no, that's not the case. The father definitely did not put the child on the railing for a picture and was not holding the child overboard. They're still investigating. They haven't really come out and said, yes, the child was climbing the railing and the father went overboard. Also in the update, we have the father has actually been admitted to hospital because he received some injuries, etc. when he jumped overboard to rescue his daughter. I hope he's doing really well, and I'm really glad that the Sheriff's Department said this didn't happen. That's the best part of this whole story going forward. Next, let's talk about MSC. They sent out some warnings to their cruise passengers saying, we might have to start charging more, or we might start skipping some of these ports because, Greece has launched that new tax for cruise ships on Mykonos and in Santorini because of, they say, over-tourism, etc. in those areas. It's still funny to me because the actual tourism in those areas is about 90% people staying there and about 10% cruise ships. So they put bans on cruise ships, but they haven't banned people coming in by air. Now the biggest thing in Spain, Greece, Italy, the biggest over-tourism thing that's happening right now is the Airbnb situation. And this is one of the reasons, especially in places like Barcelona, where they are really angry and upset about certain things. It's because the Airbnb places are buying up these residences to rent out to vacationers, and it's creating a shortage of actual housing in the city for people to live there. And that's why the housing prices are climbing left and right, because of low availability. The less availability there is, the more you can charge, right? Well, that's what's happening with these Airbnb. And so they're all starting to come around to, we're going to start limiting Airbnb rentals now and short-term rentals, etc. Or we're going to start charging taxes and everything on them even higher. And this is probably the biggest thing that the people are complaining about tourism, way more than, there's some people coming off a cruise ship. When you actually find out, it's actually the people who are causing the prices to skyrocket in the cities that they live in. Now, that doesn't mean there isn't a lot of people coming off those cruise ships. Don't get me wrong. That angers a lot of people. But when they're talking daily lives, at least cruise ships are bringing in money. Long-term rental people, quite often they're just staying there, going to the beach, and buying some groceries for the place for the whole week. And don't spend as much money as a lot of people think. Well, I hope you appreciate this update. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world? Hit that subscribe button. Until next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.